It's finally here! At least for my review, anyway, because it came out a couple of months ago, but I was finally able to watch it. And this is The Rising of the Shield Hero Season 2. By the way, give me 1 second. I know I'm very close to the camera. I'm just trying to. There we go. Connect the charger. But yay! It's finally here. The Rising of the Shield Hero Season 2. I'm super excited to talk about this 13 episode series. If you don't know what the Rising of the Shield Hero is about, I will do a quick explanation, but I encourage you to click on the playlist in the description. I think 2 episode reactions. I also did a full review of the first season, and I am pretty sure that it will be live by now. But I'm pretty sure I did also a review on the first 2 volumes of the light novel series. So click on the description for that. Also consider subscribing if you're enjoying my content. And check the description out for other links, because there are a lot of links in my description all the time. So, the Rising of the Shield Hero. In the Rising of the Shield Hero, basically we follow uh, the following story. So, Naofumi Iwatani, our main character, basically goes into a library looking for a light novel and ends up being transported into a new world along with 3 other men. Your basic Isekai style. Your basic Isekai. He gets transported into this new world along with 3 other men from 3 other versions of Japan. And each of them have a specific kind of weapon. They find out when they get like the conversation going that they are the 4 legendary heroes, and those are the bow hero, the spear hero, the sword hero, and the shield hero. And the shield hero is our main character now for me. However, unlike the others, the shield hero is considered weak and basically the weakest of the heroes because he really can't use any other weapons as long as their own, unless like no hero can use the other weapons unless they're his own. But the shield hero cannot attack as far as they know. Now, when they go, I want to mention that this world kind of works like a video game. You are able to level up, which will make sense as if you watch the series. So basically, when they go to level up, when they go into an adventure, basically, the hero has no the shield hero Naofumi has no willing party members until one of the people from the spear hero's party leaves and she accompanies him in his adventure. However, in this adventure, things go wrong when Naofumi is accused of a crime he did not commit, and all his funding and advantages are taken away from him. And now he has to do everything he can to survive in a world that really treats him like garbage. That is like the basic premise of this series. And now we have season 2 after 2 very long years. Actually, no, 3. That's wrong. Fuck 2. It is 3 very long years. It's been 3 long years, and we finally have our season 2. Now, one of the things I'm going to talk about is a bit nitpicky in this review, so I just want to restate and as a reminder that I am watching the English dub of the series. I did not watch the like Japanese version because it is a whole lot easier for me as a blind person to watch the dubbed version. So if anything comes up, I did watch the dub, not the not the not the not the subbed. So just want to mention that because one of the things I'm going to mention is nitpicky regarding the dub. So yeah, I am gonna try to keep this spoiler free. Um, but we'll see how I go. If I'm gonna go into any spoilers, I will try to let you know in advance. So here we are. So as much as I enjoyed the Rising of the Shield Hero season 2, I will admit that there were areas in this season where I think it went down in quality. And I also think this small arc, as good as it was, and it needed a little bit more. I do like certain things, but I do need to admit, as a if I'm looking at it critically, that it kind of went down in quality, in my opinion. And I don't know if it's only going to be 3 seasons, but if it is, this middle season feels like it kind of went. Um, it had a it had a lot of potential, but it also felt like it right now it feels like a lot was missing. So I I need that's one of the things I wanted to mention. Like, I feel like it needed more, and that it went down in certain qualities. I did enjoy the very beginning of the season. I think the beginning story was good, and where it led to with the whole world thing and going to the other world, because we find out in the first season, spoiler for the first season right now. So we find out in the first season that we have there are other worlds, or at least one more world. And the way that it works is, in season one, there were these heroes that wanted to kill the heroes from Melremark, and basically in that world there were other people that came to kill them and that were fighting them during the wave. And we find out that the heroes, basically the people that the people that were fighting him, them kind of told them that they are heroes from another world, and that the only way to eliminate the waves is to kill the heroes from the world of Melremark. And so it is a so it is it is one of those things, and it was cool to kind of see them again and see the characters, as well as meet a new character. I can't remember her name. I feel kind of bad because I like remembering certain names. I like remembering character names, and I can't remember this name. Um, and it was very cool to see that, and very cool to go into this new world, which was led by the first original story. I really like it. I think I like the catalyst for it, and I think that the um, that as a story it kind of works, but I feel like it needed a little bit more, because we have a villain in we have basically our main first well, not our main first villain, like our villains in season one, I think, were better than the villains in season than the villain really in season two. The villains in season one had motivation, while the villain in season two pretty much, I feel like he had motivation, but it was kind of, it lacked in that way. Basically, spoilers right now, our broad spoiler. Basically, the villain for season two was kind of like a shut-in who basically committed suicide, is from what I remember, at some point, because he kind of his he was always playing video games, and he wanted to kind of live the life he was living almost in video games and so on. And he ended up kind of almost like reincarnating into the world that he's in, and decided to basically live the life that he wanted. And it was an interesting story. I will say it was an interesting story, but I do think that as a villain, kind of for what we have in the Rising of the Shield Hero, because the first season kind of gave us a lot. It gave us a lot in the story. It gave us so much expectation, or so much to look forward to in seasons, that I think that this season kind of fell through a little, but not too much. I think it was just a little bit of issue in the writing with that, where I think the characters, especially the villain, needed a little bit more it needed a little bit more they needed a little bit more development in this area. I do like the arc, however, that Raftalia went through in this season. I thought that was great. I love the twist at the end with the Vasa weapon in her. It was very interesting. I one of the things I liked in this season is that the characters, Naofumi, uh, Philo, and Raftalia, were separated when they traveled to this other world, each for different reasons, which I will not spoil. I'm really going into broad spoilers, but not a lot. So I like that they were separated because we got to see them in different circumstances. And though they were reunited, Naofumi kind of had to work for it. Because what's interesting about Naofumi as a character is that he was basically saving a world that, again, treated him like garbage. And he was working on that. But he found friends, he found people that he really cared about, and he was making the world better for these people. And I think it was really interesting to see that the Now For Me that we got in, like, say the first like 21 episodes of season 1 to the Now For Me we have now. I think the contrast is really interesting. And I like that, but again, I think this season could have done much better. It did leave on kind of an interesting note. I think episode 13 was an interesting flashback kind of episode. I thought it was good. It was an interesting flashback. I also think it actually could have ended in episode 12, but due to the fact that episode 13 was a really good remembering episode specifically for a specific character, for Ost, I think is her name. Um, I think it worked, and I think it's really interesting to have seen that. I also liked Vitoria's appearance, which was like I think Vitoria only appeared once, and we learned about her and Philo's method of communication. I thought that was great. So I thought it was really interesting. I think their arcs were really interesting. I think there were really interesting arcs, and I think what it did do well, it did great, especially regarding the other world. But I also think that it kind of fell through in certain areas. I think if it was a little bit longer and more slow burn, like the first season, I think it would have been slightly a lot better, because then we would have explored more themes in the season, especially regarding world building. I think the issue with the season is that it went through very fast, like very fast. And the first part was slow burn, but the second part was extremely fast, and it happened at a very fast pace. And I think it was fine, but I also think it could have been done much, much better. So that is my review for season 2 of The Rising of the Shield Hero. Not what I wanted to say about an anime that's basically a favorite of mine. It's one of my favorites, but I do think it needs to be said when stories kind of go down in quality a bit. And I think even though I am a fan and I will be rewatching the season, I need to I feel like it's only right to mention this. The one thing that I am picky about is not even regarding the story. It is regarding something that the dub did for a couple of characters, but we're mainly going to focus that on Naofumi because he is the one that we kind of see more in the thing. And what ended up happening is, if the voice is very different in season 2, and I'm pretty sure they changed voice actor, but I could be wrong. But the voice is different, so it doesn't sound like the same voice actor to me. And I am very nitpicky about that because I feel like the previous voice actor basically, he basically felt like Naofumi to me, and this voice actor was fine. He was not bad, but I also don't think he encapsulated Naofumi the same way that the previous one in season 1 did. So I am nitpicky. I'm nitpicking here when it comes to the voicing, but I do think that voice talent is important, and I don't think that this voice actor did Naofumi much justice when it comes to who Naofumi is. I think that it didn't work. I think that his voice actor was fine, but the previous voice actor did a better job. And as such, I find myself kind of just like, I don't mind this voice actor, but it was very jarring to go from one voice actor to a different voice actor from what I'm used to. It was very jarring, and I just feel like, I don't know. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it, but I'm nitpicky about it because I think the other voice actor did a better job. That's my nitpicking. So, if have you watched The Rising of the Shield Hero season 2? Let me know in the comments your thoughts, and subscribe to my channel if you are interested. You can also subscribe to my blog, which you will find below. Um Honestly, I think that's it. So, I will see you next week for a review, where I believe I will be reviewing Gallant. If I'm not mistaken, it'll be Gallant. Um, so I'll be back with that. I'm pretty sure my first VE Schwab review of this channel, if I am not mistaken. I am pretty sure it is my first review from VE Schwab. Let me just double check what I'm supposed to be doing for next week. I have the schedule, so I can just. Yes, I will be reviewing Gallant next week. So I'll be back on Sunday for Gallant by VE Schwab. And until next time, though, consume stories. Bye.